Hello again. So if you've watched my previous two videos, one was pre-hysterectomy, basically what was going on, diagnosis, and up to the day before. The second video was day before, day of. So I want to talk to you about what it's like waking up in recovery. Now everyone feels pain different, and you need to understand that. So you're going to see people that said, oh, I woke up and I was in excruciating pain. And you're going to see other people that say, you know, it was like having really bad cramps, but they gave me medication, I felt better. And you're going to have all stops along that spectrum for how people felt when they woke up. And some people don't even remember it. I remember mine very well. As I said in my very first video, I don't take pain in this particular region very well at all. I know all women are sensitive to pain in that general vicinity, but mine seems to have some super natural hoo-ha pain power or something. I don't know. I remember waking up and I was in a lot of pain. The surgery itself, the LAVH, the laparoscopically assisted vaginal hysterectomy, is basically where I have 3 incisions on my belly, one in my belly button, and then one on either side. One is, the one that goes through the belly button is basically like a camera. So that one kind of sits there and shows them what they need to do. And the other 2 are kind of like the working arms, so to speak. Then, while my doctor is doing that, there is another doctor working from the inside, and they put an incision on the inside of the vagina, and that's how they bring out the uterus and the cervix. So that's putting it nicely. But it's basically, it's kind of pulled / ripped from the body. Not in a horror movie kind of slasher way, but in you know, that's not meant to come out easily. I mean, there's a reason for that. Because if it came out easily, giving birth would be a much bigger ordeal. Not that it isn't a big ordeal, but it'd be much bigger if that stuff kind of easily fell out. So yeah, I was in pain, both between my legs and my stomach. I was hurting. I mean, and then they had a hard time waking me up because they kept giving me pain medication. So I kept trying to wake up, and at one point I woke up and told them that I really needed to use the restroom. And they said, well, you may not have to go, but you had a catheter, and they did drain it at one point, but, you know, we're going to put you on a bedpan because we don't want you standing up just yet. Good idea. And I definitely didn't go on the bedpan, but I did fall asleep sitting on the bedpan in the bed. And they came back over and they said, would you feel more comfortable if we set the bedpan on the chair and you sit on it like a toilet? Would that help? And I was like, no, you know, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I know everybody and their mother just saw me from the inside out, from head to toe, basically. But I don't feel comfortable doing that. Can I just try to wake up a little bit and, you know, very carefully go to the bathroom, in a real bathroom? And she's like, yeah, I can walk you over there. So as I started to wake up and kind of be coherent, they kept telling me that I kept asking for my mom, which I don't remember at all. I remember saying, help me at one point, but I don't remember saying, you know, that I wanted my mom, which doesn't surprise me that I said that, because that's exactly who I go for anyways when I'm hurt. So very carefully they sat me up and I held my belly, because, oh, was that tender. You're going to have a very tender belly no matter what hysterectomy you have. And they kind of turned me around, and you're going to have to cough a lot. So be prepared for that, because you have a tube down your throat. So you're going to, even if you don't feel like you need to cough, you need to make yourself cough. Because if you don't get any fluid that may be in your lungs out, you're going to develop pneumonia. And then you're going to be even more pain. So cough. Brace your belly, hold your belly, and cough. Now you're going to see a lot of sites out there, and I won't name their names, popular hysterectomy sites and other places, saying, buy this hysterectomy pillow and buy this and buy that. You have 2 hands. You don't need to buy anything. Now, if you want it, go ahead and buy it. Do you need it? Absolutely not. You have 2 hands. Just kind of, what I did was kind of just press my thighs together and then hold my belly, and then I would cough. And once you get the feel of that, you know what's good support for you and what's not. Anyways, we went to the restroom, and it just wasn't coming out. And I knew I had to go. Like, I could feel like I had to go. And everybody, they try to say, well, it could be this or it could be that. You know when you have to pee. So I had the most amazing recovery nurses. This one in particular, and oh, I wish I could remember her name. She went and got me ice chips. She went and got a rag, like a wash rag, a clean, white towel, part of a towel, and another cup. So she turned on the water thinking that would help, and while it made me want to go pee more, nothing was coming out, which I'm not surprised about because, after you have a catheter in, especially one that's, drained and released and, whatever, a couple of times, 1 or 2 times in surgery, you're not going to pee correctly right away. So that wasn't working. So what she did was, as I was eating the ice chips, she had me, and I don't care if this is sharing too much, you need to know. She had me lean back a little bit, and she actually poured water over that particular area of my body to simulate the feeling of going to the bathroom. Now, that started to trigger some things to start working. I could feel some things starting to work. And eventually, it actually did come out. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to burn. I've actually met several women that said it burned a little. And I've had women tell me that it didn't burn at all. It was just hard to get it going. For me, and please hear me on that, for me, it was extremely painful. And I don't know if that's because, and the funny thing is where it burned wasn't actually the urethra. It wasn't burning like a urinary tract infection or anything like that. It was burning where the urine was running. Does that make sense? And not the actual vaginal opening. It's around it. Let's just put it that way. And finally, I just kind of sucked it up and let it just happen. But I cried. It hurt. And once I finally said I was done, she was very kind, and she wet the cloth after, I did what I'm supposed to do after you use the restroom. She was very nice, and she took the wet cloth and she kind of cleaned me off a little bit, which helped so much with how much it hurt. And she said, "Oh, you did go good. That's pretty impressive because most people actually can't." And she actually said that there are women that go home after being in surgery without having used the restroom at all. And every hospital's different. Some will not let you leave until you urinate, and there are others that will keep you several days until you have a bowel movement. So it's going to depend on your surgeon, the type of surgery you have, the hospital, your insurance. So don't be surprised if you either get sent home without having to go, or you have to stay until you can do both things. Don't freak out. Think of it as a mini vacation. Everybody's waiting on you, and it's wonderful. Because when you get home, it's a different story. I'll tell you more about that in the next video or so. But soon after that, excuse me, I was able to go home. I got dressed very slowly, and they put me in a wheelchair. And as I was, heading out, I actually saw our first kind of snow flurry activity for the season, and it was kind of pretty, especially being on so many medications. I had a lot of medications. When I got home, I had 3 flights of stairs to climb up because I live in an apartment. I was okay to do that, and I just took my time, one step at a time. I stopped in between and kind of took my breath, finally got upstairs. First thing I wanted was a giant bottle of water and cherry jello, because it's the only thing that helps my throat after I've had a tube in it. And yeah, I went to bed. I was exhausted, but I was also nauseous, so had to call the doctor, get some anti-nausea medication. My mom and my stepdad actually stayed over that night. Hospitals usually recommend a week or so, but that's just not feasible for everybody. So we had a plan, and I have friends that are willing to come by and kind of check on me each day, so it wasn't that bad. I'll tell you what happened when I woke up and the rest of that week on the next video. I know these are looking and sounding kind of chatty, but if you're in the position where you're going to have a hysterectomy, let me tell you, I wish I would have seen videos like this. Real videos, people talking real about how it's going to be. And again, like I said in the last one, it's going to be okay. No matter what happens after you wake up, it's going to be alright. I'll see you in the next video. Leave your questions down there. Bye.